You're listening to the Mindfulness for Beginners playlist from One Mind Dharma, and I'm Matthew Sokolov, an empowered Buddhist meditation teacher. And I wanted to talk a little bit about compassion and introducing the concept of compassion. And I'm going to talk about kind of the Buddhist roots, as well as more from a secular standpoint, and how we actually cultivate it. And this is just meant to be an introduction to the idea of compassion. I think that unlike some other concepts in meditation, compassion is a word that you probably have heard before. It's not that foreign of a concept. In Buddhism, the practice of compassion is one of the heart practices, the 4 heart practices or Brahma Viharas, along with loving kindness, appreciative joy, and equanimity. And it comes kind of second after loving kindness because it can be understood as what happens when loving kindness comes into contact with suffering. Compassion is a quality of responding to suffering or difficulty or pain as in a way that is present and caring and tender. We think of compassion maybe as just like a more general being kind to people or even as loving kindness. But in the context of meditation, it specifically relates to suffering or difficulty. It's taught kind of as the antidote to aversion in a way. What happens for most of us, kind of by default, is we experience something unpleasant or painful, and we want to be rid of it, right? You have a pain in your leg, or you feel hurt and angry about something. Maybe you're having a moment of anxiety. And our gut instinct is to kind of try to get rid of it. But there's a saying that what we resist persists. And as we deny or resist these experiences, it doesn't actually make them better. We're actually compounding the suffering. Compassion is the way to work with this. When we experience some form of difficulty or discomfort or pain, compassion calls for us to actually turn toward it, not away from it, which is radical in a sense. It calls for us to turn toward it with a heart that is kind and caring. And we can bring up an image of compassion, right? Like maybe I have children, young children, and when one of them falls or gets hurt, or you know how kids are, does whatever, there's part of me that goes, mess around and find out that they were doing something rather silly or dangerous, and of course they got hurt. But my reaction, my gut reaction as a parent is I run over to them and I make sure they're okay. If they're really hurt, I'll pick them up and console them. There's this natural compassion that comes forth in certain situations. But at the same time, so many things get in the way of our compassion. Like the example I just said of blaming the person, like, oh, well, you brought this suffering on yourself. You shouldn't have been riding your scooter in the house. And I know that's my fault as a parent, perhaps, but just as an example. Maybe being with the suffering feels like too much in this moment, especially with kind of more painful things like traumas. We distract ourselves. We find something else to focus on. We judge ourselves. We judge others. Compassion and this cultivation of compassion is setting the intention to really be with the suffering, whether it's something we're experiencing or someone else is experiencing. I think it's important to note that there's a teaching of the near enemy, a quality that seems like the heart practice, but isn't quite it. And with compassion, that's pity. I think the difference between compassion and pity is often looking down on someone or something with no intention really to help. It's separating. Compassion is connecting, and there is a quality of action, of actually supporting this person in their suffering. Jack Kornfield says that compassion is if you play a violin in one room and I set a violin in another room, the strings of that other violin are going to shake or resonate ever so slightly with the sound waves from the first violin. And that's what compassion is, this quivering of the heart. It's not that we take on this person's suffering if it's someone else or wallow in our own suffering, but we allow ourselves to feel it. We allow the heart to resonate a little bit. And we cultivate this quality through meditation, through most often repeating phrases such as, may I care for this pain? May I be present for it? Much like we do with loving kindness or the other heart practices, just setting the intention over and over again to be present and to care. It may not feel emotional when we practice compassion. We may not have a felt sense of empathy or compassion, but we're orienting ourselves over and over again. I'll include a link below for a meditation on self-compassion for beginners. I encourage you to make this a part of your practice. It can help us, obviously, in daily life, interact with other people and with suffering more wholesomely. And it can help us with our own suffering on and off the cushion. When we are experiencing some discomfort, like some anxiety, or we're hurt or angry, or we're grieving, having a regular compassion practice makes it easier to access some care and kindness in that moment. It makes it easier to not just avert from it or distract ourselves. It allows us the opportunity to touch it, to get to know it, to care for it. So I encourage you to make this a part of your practice. And as always, if you have any questions, please reach out. Hi, I'm Matthew. I want to invite you to our Introduction to Mindfulness mini course. It's free, it's a week long, and it contains talks and meditation practices to help you understand exactly what mindfulness is and how you can get started on your path. To learn more and sign up, you can click the link right here.